We start with the calendar. As soon as Tuesday, a Pima County judge could decide whether she'll allow Arizona's Civil War-era abortion ban to take effect. Just a few days later, on Saturday, the state's new ban on abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy will take effect. Joining us now is Brittany Fontenot, Chief Executive Officer of Planned Parenthood of Arizona, here to tell us what the short-term future looks like for reproductive rights in Arizona. Welcome back to Square Off.
Thank you for having me.
So we last spoke shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court decision striking down Roe v. Wade back in June. At the time, Planned Parenthood was the largest provider of abortion services in Arizona. Are you still providing abortion services today?
Well, I have really exciting news, and that is that just a couple of weeks ago, we were able to resume abortion services in our Tucson Health Center. We were forced to pause abortion services when the Supreme Court made the egregious decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. There was a lot of chaos and legal confusion about the status of abortion in Arizona, and we really wanted to focus on making sure that our providers and our patients were protected. We've since been able to get a bit more legal clarity through our court case. And so with that, we've been able to resume abortion services as we promised we would, as our legal landscape allowed.
So in Tucson, do you plan to resume them here in Phoenix anytime soon?
We are working on it right now. And so, as you mentioned, next week is a really big week for abortion rights and access and reproductive freedom in Arizona. And so if the judge does rule in our favor, then we are already working to put the pieces in place to be able to resume abortion care here in Phoenix and also in Flagstaff.
And to be clear, the judge could rule as soon as Tuesday. She said it wouldn't be any longer than 30 days after that. So
yes,
kind of a waiting game.
It is.
Right
We're
now
waiting on pins and needles, but I am very cautiously optimistic. I think that we have a very sound legal argument and hope that the judge will rule in our favor.
So get back to the fact that you're resuming services. What is the law right now? Because as I talk to people, there seems to be a lot of confusion, and the default is, as it was for Planned Parenthood, to interpret the law in the toughest way possible.
Right, and I think that that is completely understandable. So I'm going to try to break it down as simply as possible. When the Supreme Court overturned Roe, the same day, Senate Republicans in Arizona came out with a statement saying that abortion was illegal, saying that the Civil War era abortion ban was currently in effect. And so, of course, that started off a lot of the confusion and chaos and fear that we have seen in the state since then. Only a couple of days later, the Attorney General, who is our state's chief legal prosecutor, echoed their sentiments, saying that the near total ban on abortion was currently in effect. Meanwhile, you have our governor, Doug Ducey, saying that the 15-week ban is going to be the law of the land in Arizona. So as you can see, this has been a real legal limbo that we've been living in, and I can't overstate the chilling effect that this has had, especially on providers and patients. Patients didn't know what their rights are. They didn't know if they could come to their local community health center and get a basic healthcare procedure, or if they were going to be forced to flee to another state in order to get safe and legal abortion. For our providers, it really created a lot of fear around potential criminalization, because what's really important for people to understand is that these bans have criminal liabilities, not civil. And so we wanted to be cautious. We wanted to make sure that we were fighting back in all the ways possible, including through our court case, trying to challenge the Attorney General's attempt to take us back to 1864 with this near total ban on abortion. Now the judge is set to give her decision as early as next week, and we are optimistic about what's to come.
So let's talk about the 15-week ban that will take effect this coming Saturday. Does that provide protection for abortion services up to 15 weeks of pregnancy?
So in and of itself, it is unclear. And so
it's unclear, even though the governor said that's the law, and he's not a prosecutor, and it will be the law.
It is, and so I think that that is what has, what you outlined right now is exactly what we've been contending with for the past several months. So the 15-week ban was passed by the legislature, signed into law. The governor says that that is going to be Arizona's abortion law, but you have the chief legal prosecutor in our state state saying something completely different. So what we are asking the court to do through our court case is to harmonize all of the various laws that are on the books regarding abortion. As you mentioned, there are many different abortion laws, from the 1864 law to the 15-week ban and many laws in between. And because of the tangled web that has been created regarding abortion in Arizona, what we really need is for the court to step in and let us know what the legal status of abortion is by harmonizing all of the laws.
So, but clearly you don't believe, your lawyers don't believe that anybody at Planned Parenthood, associated healthcare professionals are face any legal risk by providing abortions right now.
Yes, right now we feel that we are in a very safe position. That's why we were able to resume abortion services. Since the Attorney General's public statement saying that the complete ban is currently in effect, he has been able to say in court and on the record that there is an injunction in place. The injunction that we knew was in place all along, but he has finally acknowledged it. And so that really gave us the confidence and the comfort to be able to resume abortion care without the fear of prison time for our doctors.
And getting back to that expected ruling, anticipated ruling by the Pima County judge as soon as this coming Tuesday, this likely won't be the end of that case, correct? This is likely to end up at the Arizona Supreme Court.
I think that's a pretty safe assumption. I think that certainly if the judge rules in the Attorney General's position, then we're going to continue to fight tooth and nail to make sure that we're able to secure abortion access for our patients and communities.
So despite all you've said, is the door slowly closing on abortion rights, access to abortion in Arizona?
I would say that a big part of reproductive freedom in Arizona is dependent upon our elected officials, but also the people. We have a critical midterm election coming up, and Planned Parenthood Advocates of Arizona, our advocacy and political arm, is working diligently to try to elect candidates who share our values. We know that 87% of Arizonans support abortion rights and access and don't want the government to interfere in their personal health care decisions. What we need now are elected officials that really represent the people's will and values on abortion rights and access. And so I think it's incredibly important for people to remember that the midterms are now competitive in a way that they weren't before the Supreme Court overturned Roe, and that abortion is on the line. Everything is possible right now, but we have to make sure that people are making their voices and their will heard.
Brittany Fontenot, thanks so much for joining us.